doing. So I'm just going to make sure everything's going real quick here because it's not going through yet on my end. So if anybody is in the chat, if you could just pop a quick message that it is going through and you can hear me and see me, because it's still sort of just trying to go through on my end. Okay, now I think it's going. So my goal for today, we're going to finish this pumpkin up. We're going to do the eyes and the mouth and darken up some of the areas in the sides. And then I'd like to add some fog in the back here and in the foreground here, just to kind of tie everything together. I've got all of my supplies listed down in the description below if you want to paint along with the sketch done for you guys. But I think I'm just going to jump right in, and the first thing I need to do is just take my kneaded eraser and just lighten the lines up in the eyes a little bit here. And I did remove the masking film prior to starting this, so I had a masking film on the eyes separating them, and I just took that off just before we started, just so I didn't have to fumble around with that this time. Oh, hello, EB. Nice to see you this morning. How's your morning going? I forgot to mention last weekend to everybody that it is daylight savings time, but I think most everybody, I think their time went back today. Did yours, EB? So I'm hoping people can still show up for the live stream, but we'll see, I guess, as it gets going. I'm just lightening some of these graphite lines here a little bit. Okay. Now, because the area right around the eyes is a little bit smaller, I'm going to go in with that smaller tool that we were using last time. And I just washed this with some of the pink soap that you wash your brushes with. And all the tools that I used are just good. EB says, my morning is good. And yes, I went back in time too. We're all in the past now. So I think for the inside of the eyes, because I want it to look little bit different than the rest of the pumpkin, I'm going to start with the yellow ochre, and then I may end up adding a little bit of yellow or something into it. Just depends how it looks. Yeah, that might be a little too yellow ochre-y, so maybe just add a little bit of that yellow into it with a touch of the yellow ochre. Yeah, I like that a little bit better. So how's your weekend going, EB? Have you done anything fun? Mine's just been same old, same old. We did go to see the Eternals yesterday. So that's a Marvel movie, and that was kind of fun to see. Very different from your typical Marvel movies, so good. I made my ornaments. Gonna make more. In your stream today, you're gonna make some more? I'm gonna be selling them online soon. Oh, that's so fun. That's awesome. Okay, you're gonna be doing them this afternoon. That's awesome. I'm going to add just a little bit of orange in here too. Just in a couple of areas. Just to make it a little bit darker. More on the top, where we would have a little bit more shadow. And then down here a little bit. And we'll see, this is just a start, and if we want to, you know, change the color, we can always layer over top. So I think next weekend we're starting that flower with colored pencils. I think that's what everybody had voted for, so I think that's what we'll be doing. I'm going to add a little bit more orange in just around here. Okay, and I'm going to do the same around the mouth area. And then what I'm going to do for the eyes is I'm going to go a little bit brighter in here and then darker, so it looks like there's some kind of glow in the jack-o'-lantern. In our reference picture, it's got sort of like smoke or something coming out of it, but I'm not sure if I like that, where we're going to have the fog coming in anyway. It might be like too much. So we'll just see. Good morning, Lisa. Nice to see you here. How are you today? I'm just making my way around, filling in. I think this is called like the rind of the pumpkin. Is it called a rind? I'm good, thank you. I'm excited. I've got some time off this week, so I'm hoping to be able to get some more artwork done or just relax. I'll see what I feel like doing. Yes, that's what it's called, the rind. Okay. Oh, and I just realized I missed a little tooth here from the pumpkin, so we'll fill that in after. But I'm just taking my time, really trying to get into some of these small areas. And I'm just mixing that Darylide yellow and yellow ochre. And I really like these small soft tools for little areas like these, because some of those bigger sponge tools just wouldn't get into these areas. Okay, so I'm gonna wipe off as much as I can from this, or actually maybe I'll just switch it over and use the other side of it because the other side's clean. And I'm gonna go in with this Hansa yellow, and I think I'm gonna add a little bit of white into it just because I want it to be fairly bright in here. So I'm going for like a glow area, sort of like here, and then it's going to be darker. And I could probably switch to the big tool for this area, but I had this one in my hand, so. Oh, thank you so much, EB. I really appreciate that. So I'm pretty much just using that Hansa yellow now because I kind of like the contrast of like this is a little bit of a cooler yellow compared to some of the warmer yellows that we have going on in the pumpkin. And you know what? I am going to switch to a different tool. So I'm going to pick this little like oval looking tool just to save some time and speed it up a little bit. Just to lay the color down. I might add a little bit of white just to the corner of it here, where I want it a little brighter. Okay, and I'm going to add this color over here too, and I'm sort of going to make like about where I want that color to go. And then I'm just going to fill it in. EB says, I only got 3 trick-or-treaters last Sunday. Wow. Well, we only got 5 here, and we are in like a subdivision. And there's actually quite a few kids that live on this street, but it was raining, and were sort of still in like, not really lockdown, but just under lockdown, and they weren't really allowed to go out with friends or anything. So, but yeah, I think we got, I think 5, about 5. And usually we do get a few more than that. So it was kind of weird, kind of a weird year. But I got lots of treats left over that I'm gonna eat, so that's that's a plus too. And we weren't expecting a whole lot, so we didn't get a whole lot, but I'm gonna grab some of that white and just put it into the corner here and blend it out. And same down here. So I'm just going to kind of concentrate it sort of in the upper half part in the middle here. Lisa says, we didn't get any, but then again, we don't buy candy or sweets. Yeah. Yeah, that's hard when you don't want it around the house, eh? Because there's always some kind of leftovers. Usually I get at least 20 or more, but I think they had a bunch of trunk or treats, so that's why we didn't get any. Yeah, and now I know what that is. Thanks to you and Corey from last weekend. I think we should start that around here because that would be so much more convenient. Everybody just goes to one location, like especially in your subdivision, if you were able to. I'd rather just go there for, 20 minutes, a half hour, or whatever, get it done with, let the kids have their candy, and then I can go home and relax, and I don't have to have like ding dong every, 5 minutes and keep getting up. I think that would be pretty convenient. Lisa says, it is. If Stan buys something, he keeps it in his room away from me. Yeah, that doesn't always work here because I know all the hiding places. So if the hubby buys something, he has to hide it really darn good. It's like I have a sixth sense for, tracking down chocolate. And I'm just going to fade this color down a little bit. Just to a couple. I know what you mean. EP says, I got most of my Christmas shopping done, so happy I'm getting it done fast this year. Wow, I've only gotten one thing so far, and it's because I got it, like, I think in the summertime when it came out. I had bought it then, so I only have one thing. So you are way, way ahead of me. Every year I try not to be, but I always end up being like a last minute shopper or a last minute like person getting my wrapping done, or even just getting like gifts in general. I don't know why. And I always say I'm going to start earlier, but never happens. Okay. So I'm going to start in with some of this orange now. And a little bit of that dairy lied yellow. And I'm going to put that in here and sort of blend the two colors together. I'll have to show you in my stream what I made for Christmas for my family. Yes, please do. Please do. I would love to see that. I got 14 people to buy for, so I have to get a lot of it quick. Yeah. Yeah, if you've got that many, absolutely. All I need is Christmas candy for everyone, then I'm done. Plus, my boyfriend needs to tell me what he wants as well. Yeah, I always find that the hardest part, trying to figure out what the husband wants. And we always say every year, oh, we're not going to get each other anything, right? Like, we're just going to do, like, no presents that year, and then we always get each other something. So I'm going to get this color in. So I'm using that orange and the dairy lied yellow. And you know what? I might try this yellow, see what that looks like. No, I like the dairy lied better. And then I'm probably going to darken it up along the edges a little bit more still on the inside. I remember the year I found out Santa wasn't real. I woke up and came out to get some water, and there was Mom and Diane and Sharon wrapping gifts on the table, and she said, oh, Santa was too busy to wrap them. Oh no, what a way to find out. I'm trying to think when I found out that Santa wasn't real. I think I found out at like school or something like that. Somebody told me. But even now, I still say Santa's real because every year I still get a present from Santa. So how could he not be real? So as I get less of that color on my brush, I'm just gently just blending those colors together. I'm really just sort of skimming over the top. EB says, I already told him what I wanted. I am getting a new printer and he is getting me something else. He was thinking about a remote car starter. Oh, that's a good present. You could always use a remote car starter. I have one and it is so convenient. I would never get another car without a car starter again. Just so nice, especially in the winter time where you can just like kind of put it on maybe 5 or 10 minutes before you have to run out to get to work or something like that. And then you don't have to scrape as much because it does a lot of the work for you. I figured out Santa when I was in 5th grade when my parents asked me to pick out what I wanted for Christmas by going to the store and picking it out, and they bought it. We got a limited amount of money to buy Christmas gifts. Oh. So, like, did they buy it in front of you, or did they just go back and buy it afterwards, and then you kind of knew then, or? Yes, they bought it in front of you. Oh. Well, I suppose, you know, if they're there and it works. And by 5th grade, I feel like I'm just wiping off some of that excess pastel, and I'm going to blend these colors together like I did up there. I feel like by 5th grade, I probably knew as well. So I feel like, I mean, that's not a horrible time to find out, I guess. And you got what you wanted, 2 out of it, so. There's just something about, you know, Santa Claus. I don't know, there's just something magical about thinking about, you know, a guy that kind of goes around and like gets presents for you, and you have to be good, and like, you know, there's just a whole thing behind it. And I think I like that, like the story behind it, better than just like somebody that goes around and gives me presents. So again, I'm not pushing hard here. I'm just sort of like skipping over the surface and just letting the colors blend together themselves. And then I think I'm going to go in a little bit darker. So I am going to go in with maybe a little bit of this permanent red. And I'm just going to see, yeah, I kind of like that just to deepen up the inside just a little bit. So I'm going to just sort of glaze this over top. And then just blend this color out. And that's going to help. So having the darks along with the lighter colors is really going to make this look bright, like it's glowing. Hopefully. So I'm starting it right at the edge where I want it to be the darkest. And you can see I barely have to tap into these. One little tap and I've got quite a bit of that. So if I don't want to get it too dark, I've got to be pretty careful. EB says there were a couple of surprises, but still they stopped putting Santa on it. Well, I still always get a present from Santa from my in-laws. They always give us one, and it's usually like our pajamas or socks or like something, you know, that you get every year kind of thing, like just your necessities more of, I guess. That's what Santa gives us. I always got a lot for Christmas. I knew how to make the money go far with what I wanted and was a good shopper. Yeah, that's the trick sometimes. I'm just adding a little bit more orange in there, just to tone that color down a tiny bit, and then just blending it out. Yeah, we didn't always have a lot of money, but we always had a good Christmas, you know, and we always made do. Like, that was really important. We always got something nice, you know. And I'm going to add a little bit of that red down here too. We had a great Christmas every year. My dad worked 2 jobs to help give us a good Christmas. Oh, what a good man. So I'm just doing like a little dot of this because it's really overpowering. So do you guys have a big family get-together for Christmas? Or is it just a small family get-together? Okay, so I'm going to wipe off some of that dark color, whatever I can there. And I am going to just start sort of blending that in again. Okay. And then I'm going to grab some of that orange, and I think some of that orange, and I think I did a little bit of the burnt sienna maybe. Nope, that's too dark. We'll do some orange over that. So just filling in that tooth part there. And then I need a little bit of the yellow, I believe. And I'm just going to try to help blend that in. So just grabbing some of that burnt sienna there. And then I'm just going to use my little baby wipe that I actually have over here for my finger. And, oh no, is the stream pausing? Or is it going? No, it's going. Okay. It just said there was an error there for a second. Let me see here. It says we got 3 houses on Christmas and 4 houses on Christmas Eve. I go to each my family's homes to drop off gifts. Okay, yeah, it did froze for a second, and then it's good now. Wow, that's a lot of houses. We usually do 2 houses around Christmas time or some of the holidays. Okay, so I think I like the glow there, and I'm just assessing the pumpkin overall. So I think I'm ready to kind of add some more darkness around the sides. And I might go in with a bigger tool for that. I'm just going to get a little drink of water here. And actually, I'm going to take that tool that I used the last time and just get any dust that might have gotten there from doing the eyes and stuff. So I'm just going to... There. Not a whole lot of dust, actually. So we'll start darkening up our pumpkin. So we've got to make it sort of blend in a little bit. And then when we go over top with some of that fog, it's going to look better. It's going to help it blend in. But I'm going to take some of the colors that I used for the background. So we'll try this raw umber, maybe a little bit of red oxide and some black. And I'm just going to test that down here just to see how that looks. Maybe, and I'll try just the raw umber and black. Yeah, I think that's good enough. And I'm just going to get sort of the bottom part of the pumpkin to blend in with the background. Lisa says it looks really cool so far. Thank you very much, Lisa. I appreciate that. So I don't want to bring this up too high, but I'm just focusing on those edges. So I'm just using the raw umber and black right now. And a little more of the black just right around the edges. And then some of that raw umber. And I'm going to just darken up down here a little bit. So I'm just using the black just a little bit. Then I'm going to try to wipe off as much as I can of that. Oh, good morning, Della. Nice to see you here. Sorry I missed your comment for a few seconds. Oh, I'm definitely going to need to cover up that edge there. Now that's not covering, so I'm just going to see if maybe a piece of that masking film is left there. Yep. That is such a tiny piece. There we go. So that can happen when you're cutting it. So now I can go over top of that and just fix that. Now I'm just lightly blurring the edges here up here. I don't want a lot of it, just a little bit to blur in. Okay. And then I'm going to switch to the cleaner side. So this has green on it, but I've washed it off. So I mean, the green's not going to come off, but I just want to blend this in with the pumpkin lightly, just so it looks a little more seamless. And sometimes when we're using black on the sponges like this, it really overpowers them, and no matter how much you wipe it off, it just doesn't matter. How are you today, Della? How's your weekend going? And if I feel like I'm picking up a little bit too much darkness, I'm just gonna wipe that off. Okay. Again, wiping that off. And I'm just going to use my finger just to smooth this part here, just to get rid of some of these brush strokes, but okay. And then I'm just going to wipe my finger off real quick with that baby wipe. And then I have a dry one that I just wipe off as well, just to get the residue of the baby stuff, the baby wipe off. So I'm going to go back to that darker side and then just start working that in more again too. And then making this dark, it's going to be easy for us, make it easier for us to go over top with that fog that I want to do. So I'm just trying to blend these edges as much as I can so it's almost seamless, but Della says it's going well. I woke up to flowers, candy, and a bullet blender, nice, an espresso machine, and art supplies, all for my son for my birthday tomorrow. He can never wait. Oh, that's so exciting. Happy birthday. That's so exciting. I bet the best part was the art supplies. Maybe the espresso machine too, but for me it would be the art supplies. So I'm just going back and forth and just blending. And I'm just doing light dab motions because I don't want to leave too harsh of like an area, but I'll go back in and blend one more time with my finger. And then I'm just going to really darken up the bottom edge here. So you can't really see. I don't know if you guys can see on camera, but I can see just a slight edge of where the pumpkin was, and I'm just going to cover that up. And I'm just using pretty much just black for this. Della says, thank you. I've been waiting for a new espresso machine. Espresso. I don't know why I feel like I'm saying that weird. Espresso machine for almost a year. Super excited. That's exciting. Okay. So I'm just going to wipe off whatever I can off that, but I'm not too worried because I'm pretty much done with that. And I'm just going to go in one more time and just blend this dark area, just so it's as seamless as I can get it. I mean, it doesn't matter because we're going over top with a little bit of fog too, so that's going to cover up some of these areas, but Okay. So I'm just going to wipe my fingers off again. Now, because of the perspective of the pumpkin and the forest behind it, if we just have fog coming up in front, it's going to look weird. So we're going to need to add a little bit of fog to the background as well. So I can sort of see where the bases of the trees are a little bit. So I'm going to have just a little line of fog coming in there, and then I'm going to have more fog kind of coming up around the pumpkin like this. That's my plan. So we'll see how this goes because I'm just kind of winging it at this point. But I thought it would look better, like it would look cooler in the picture to have the fog coming in. So I'm just going to take this little puffer thing again and just get rid of any particles that might be there, because when I put down the fog, I want that to be, you know, as bright as it can be. So I'm just going to puff any little excess pastel dust off. And I'm just going to take this little like triangle Sofft tool because it's got more of a pointy end to it. And I've also got a white pastel pencil over here from Pitt Pastels. And this is 101. And just in case we need to add any like little bright areas after in the fog, but I'm going to try to do most of it with the panpastels. And what I'm actually going to do, because I want this to be like a white fog, I don't want any other colors into it right now. I am going to wipe my white pastel panpastel off, and I don't do this often unless I really just want, you know, the clean color. But because we were mixing in with other colors, that's what I'm going to do. And just be careful, because when you do wipe it off like that, it does create a little bit of dust. So just be aware of that. So I'm going to start having some come in on the sides here. So I'm going to get a little bit on my brush, and less is more to start. So I'm going to start with like a little line, and then I will sort of blend that out. And I want it to be sort of the brightest along here, and then like blend up into like a fogginess. How many times can I say foggy or fogginess? So I'm just doing those little taps, just trying to spread it out. And as it gets like more up, I want it to be more sheer, more transparent. And I'm kind of having it come in between these trees a little bit, just to show that it goes back, sort of. And then I'll try to go across to the other side and kind of do the same thing. And then if I need to make it a little brighter, I can always make it a little brighter afterwards. So again, I just tap down a little bit and pull it up a little bit. And when I add it, I'm always going to add it to the center and then sort of pull away. And I'll add it up around this little tree here that I can see, so that it looks like it goes back. And I'm trying to keep them pretty even. And I'm just gonna wipe off any excess and just help pull it out a little bit so it looks like it's a little more transparent looking. And I want to pull it down slightly, but not too down, because we want it to look like it's going across the ground. Oh, hi Mima. Nice to see you here. Thank you so much for joining. If you guys don't know, Mima is also an artist, and she has a YouTube channel, and she recently did a live stream with a portrait for Halloween, and it was very beautiful. I loved it. I enjoyed it, and you guys should definitely go check out her channel if you haven't already. I mean, who doesn't know about Mima, really? Okay, so I just want the hint in the background like that. And we can always add more foggy mist if we need to afterwards, but I think I like that right now. Oh, well, so are you, Mima. So are you. And now I'm going to start adding some to the front of the pumpkin. So again, I'm just going in with the just white, the titanium white, and I'm going to start off to the sides because I want it brighter on the outside, and then it's going to sort of fade in towards our pumpkin again. And I want to make sure that I don't bring it all the way up to the fog that we have here, just for perspective, so that looks like it's pushed more back into the background. EB says that she subscribed to Mima. Yes, you should. She does amazing work. Amazing. And you know what? To get in some of this just a little bit quicker, I'm going to go ahead and grab that Sofft tool, just because I know I do want it quite bright around the edges. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm not going to put it like everywhere a flat white. I do want to leave some areas where it's still dark, and that's going to give it its foggy look throughout. This drawing looks gorgeous. Wow, can't stop looking at it. Oh, thank you so much, Mima. You are too sweet, too sweet. So I am going to get some brush strokes with this, obviously. But we'll go back in with that other Sofft tool and add some more to it, and then we'll blend it out a little bit. So that'll get rid of some of the tool strokes. Oh my gosh, I can't think today. So I'm just intentionally leaving some spaces blank right now. And I'm just using that white color right now. And you can see how, because we're putting it over top of the black, it is giving sort of a grayish color. But the more we layer it up, the more opaque it's going to be. And then if I want to make it really opaque and I want to have a few, you know, really bright things, I can go in with the pastel pencil and do that. And now that I have my general shape, I'm just going to keep going just to fill in a few areas, make them a little bit more opaque. Yes, EB says if you're just joining, please hit that like button. If you're enjoying the artwork, then yes, please do subscribe. And don't forget to hit that bell notification because then YouTube will notify you of when I post things, because they don't always notify you, or when we do our live streams like this. So every Sunday at 11 a.m. Atlantic time, I go live and we do a different tutorial. And you guys voted, and next weekend, because we're finishing this up today, so next weekend we will be starting a botanical flower painting with colored pencils. That was the number one choice. So that will be starting next Sunday. So now I'm just really concentrating on a few areas, more like to the edges of things, and then I'm going to let it sort of like blend out into our pumpkin afterwards. Oh yes, and I would really appreciate it if you guys would give this live a thumbs up if you're enjoying it, because it does help YouTube know. It lets them know that people are enjoying this, and then they'll be more likely to put it out to other people. So I would really appreciate that. So I'm going to go back to that square soft tool that we were using. And I'm just going to start picking some areas and just sort of helping it fade out a little bit more. And I'm really going to go in and sort of work on the edges too. So this is going to take a little while, but it's going to be worth it, and it's going to help give it that look. So I think I'm going to keep down here and work on down here, and then I'll start working up into the pumpkin, so I don't end up bringing the colors of the pumpkin down into our fog down here. But what I'm doing is just sort of getting those brush strokes out, just smoothing it out. And then we'll fade it out like we sort of did in the background. And when I'm doing these, I'm trying to keep my movements in like circles or curves, because fog doesn't just go in one direction. It sort of goes in all different directions. So even if we have some brush strokes showing, if you can sort of make them like circly sort of brush strokes, that's going to help it appear more realistic. Even though this is quite a stylized piece, you know. it's still going to help give the impression that I'm looking for, if that makes sense. Now, if I feel like I'm picking up a little bit too much, I'm just going to wipe that off and start helping that fade out. Now, if I feel like it's coming up too much, I can use the black from the background and fade down into it, or I can pull it up, just depends what I need. Okay, so I'm going to start helping it fade up into the pumpkin now. And I'm not trying to pull it up or bring it up in every little area, just some of them. And I might add a little bit of white to some areas where I want to brighten it a little bit. Oh, thank you so much, EB. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm sort of experimenting doing this, seeing how it kind of comes out, but it's fun so far. I'm really enjoying, I'm liking the piece, how it's coming out so far, so I hope I don't ruin it with this foggy look, but we'll see. Foggy, misty look, I'm not really sure if it's more mist or more fog. What's more creepy or scary, mist or fog? Maybe mist, I guess, I don't know. So I'm just wiping off where I feel like I'm picking up a little bit too much and it's traveling a little too much. Because I want it to come up a little bit in some places, but not everywhere. Mist, you can at least make out things in fog very dense and very hard to see in it. Okay, mist, you can make things out. Fog, it's very dense and hard to see in it. Okay, so maybe this is fog then? No, maybe this is mist. Because you can kind of see in it. It's spooky mist. if that makes sense. And I like this dark area that's coming down here, so I want to keep that. So I'm going to try to, you know, sort of push to the sides of it. Keep that dark area almost like where the mist is sort of parting. It's whatever you want it to be. It's to be determined then. So this is obviously, you know, time consuming how you can see, but I'm starting to like try to pull it out in like little strands as well. So we've got some little spots like coming up and some darker spots in there. I'm going to work on this side a little bit more. I'm just wiping a little bit off the surface because I sort of like how this dark area is like coming in and it sort of splits a little bit. So I'm just helping it. I'm going to grab just a little bit more white just here. It really is looking good though. Oh, thank you so much, Lisa. I appreciate that. This is the time-consuming part. Okay, so I'm just gonna take a look back and just sort of look where I'm at if I want to change anything. How do you guys think it's looking so far? I'm just gonna get a drink of water. Oh, hello, Shadow. Good morning. Nice to see you here. Okay, so I think I'm going to add just a little touch of black just in a couple of spots here. So just to add just a touch of darkness. Kind of breaking up some of those lighter areas. Thank you, EB. I've never done like a picture with fog like this in it before, so this is new to me. So we're just sort of, you know, seeing how it goes. I think I'm liking it so far. So I'm really just trying to blend some of these areas here because I don't want it to go up too much further than this. I think I quite like how the top part's looking. Naomi, your picture looks better than the reference picture. It's spooktacular. Oh, thank you so much. And Shadow says the fog mist is looking great. Yes, I haven't decided if it's fog or mist yet. So you guys can let me know your opinion on that. All right, I'm going to go back in and just add some brighter areas, just in a couple of spots. Because again, you know, places where you've got high contrast, so you've got light lights and dark darks in here, it's going to give it more dimension, I'm hoping. And it's going to give those like lighter areas, like more darker areas, some more transparency. That's what I'm sort of going for. And I'm just tapping and blending those edges just a little bit. Now I do want like some of those brush strokes showing, like I was saying before, just smoothed out a little bit, because the texture is going to help with the fog look too. So I'm not putting this white everywhere. I'm just really picking a few select areas. And I'm really just picking the areas that look the brightest to me right now. And that's sort of where I'm putting this. And this triangle tool is working out perfect for this, because it's got a nice little edge there. And I think I am liking how this is looking so far. Not bad for a first attempt at doing this. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but sometimes it's fun to just experiment like this, and you never know what you're going to come up with, you know, right? I'm all about experimenting and trying new things, and you just never know. I'm going to wipe some of that off and just blend it down a little bit. Toot away, Naomi. It looks fantastic. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's see. We'll have some coming from the side here. Maybe I want this a little bit bigger here. So I'm just kind of like playing with shapes right now, just trying to make like different shapes within the fog. And then maybe I'll have a little bit like coming this way. Okay, I'm going to wipe off and sort of blend this. And I'm just going to take a dab of black just to darken this area up a little bit, just so that there's a little bit more contrast in between the light area and that middle area, just to break it up. Just a touch, and like I'm touching it in and then I'm touching it on here just because I really don't want to get too much black on there, but I just want just a touch. And again, I'm going to darken up just here. I think I'll grab a little bit more. Just to bring this down a little bit away from the fog in the background. Just so that there's a clear difference between the foreground and the background. And that's going to help with our perspective. And then I might do a little on the other side as well. So I'm being careful how much I grab. And wiping off when I need to. Just grab a little bit more white. So I'm just sort of like, just playing, trying to get this side to look how I want it to look. And then just blending this out here. Okay. I'm going to give this a good wipe off and just blend this down. Maybe add just a touch more black right into here. And I will slightly blend it up as well. Get just a touch of white. just to help blend more. And I just want to add a little bit more white. Okay, so I'm just going to take a look. I think I need to tone this down just slightly, actually. Okay. So I'm just like sort of sitting back, just looking at it, reassessing. I think I'm pretty happy with how this is coming out. Let me know what you guys are thinking so far. And if you haven't, I would really appreciate it if you could give the video a like. That really does help me and my channel out. And I'm just gonna get another sip of water. I am super thirsty today. But I think I'm pretty happy with how it's coming along. I'm not sure there's a whole lot that I want to change. Would you guys add or change anything or do anything different to this? Because I'm thinking I'm liking it where it's at. As I pick up the brush and keep going. I feel like I'm at that stage where I could keep messing with it, but I like how it's looking. And so if you mess too much with it at this point, then you could end up like overdoing it and ruining it. So sometimes you just got to say, okay, I need to like put my brushes down and have a real good look at it and step away. And because I want this to stay, you know, bright like this and foggy, I'm not going to go ahead and blend those parts in. I want them to stay how it is. So when you were framing this, because you could have a little bit of fallout, you'd want to put some spacers in with your mat. So when you mat it, you want to put a little spacer in there just in case. You could also go ahead and spray this with a fixative, but because it's on the PastelMat, it's still going to stick pretty darn good. Like you won't get a whole lot of fallout. I'm just going to go ahead and take that puffer tool again and get rid of any excess pastel. And you know what? I might just add a little bit more white down at the bottom in some of these areas. Just a touch more. Sort of connecting some of these areas because I feel like it's almost like lines coming down, and I just want to connect them a little bit. So I'm just going to add a little bit of that white. Not too much. And then I think that's where I will leave it. As always, I think it's amazing. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Thank you so much, Della and Shadow and EB. You guys are too sweet. But as you probably know me by now, this is one of my favorite stages of painting or drawing, when you're just adding like little tiny tweaks to it. I could just go on forever. So sometimes I really do have to just tell myself, okay, you need to stop and look at it in a couple of days and then see if there's anything that I really want to change. And most of the time there's not. Once I put it away and I come back to it, I quite like it the way it is. So but I think that's it. I just wanted to kind of connect these down at the bottom a little bit, but I don't want to bring it up too much because I do like, you know, the sort of like mistiness of it sort of spreading. So I think this is where I'm going to leave it as I'm still messing with it. So next weekend we will start with the, I think it's a tulip, the botanical drawing that you guys voted for. So we will start with that. I'll have that up this week, should be like midweek, and I'll have like the line drawing for you guys and the colors that I'm going to be using. And I might put a poll up too, just asking if you guys would prefer to use Prismacolors or Polychromos, because I have both pencils and I like both, but I tend to maybe favor my Prismacolors for certain drawings. It just depends. So let me know if you guys would rather have Prismacolor or Polychromos, or do you want a mix of the two? Because when I'm doing artwork for myself, and EB says put the sponge down. Yes, boss. So when I'm doing artwork for myself, I usually just mix all the pencils that I have. But because I'm doing, you know, tutorials for you guys, or draw alongs, whatever you want to call them, I know you don't have all the pencils. So sometimes I try to pick just one brand, but then let's say you only have Polychromos, then if I pick Prismacolor, it's kind of not fair for those that only have the Polychromos. So I might end up mixing the two, because that's normally what I would do. And if you guys need an option, you can always let me know during the live stream, and I can give you an option for the other brand or whatever. But I think that's where we'll leave it at for today. And you guys say mix the pencils. Either pencils is fine. So yeah, I might do a little mix of the both. And I always end up using my Polychromos white or my Prismacolor white. So usually the black and the whites are, just depends. I like the Polychromos white because it holds a finer tip. But I like the Prismacolor white because it's more opaque. So if I can't get it with the Polychromos, I'll switch to the Prisma. But we'll see. So I'll have that up this week. And I think that is it for today. If you guys have any last minute questions or anything for me, if not, I will go ahead and wrap this up. And again, like I said at the beginning, even though this is like quite full of pigment now and you can't really use it on any other areas, I just go ahead and rinse it out and wash it in the sink, and then it's reusable again. So a lot of these, you know, I've been using for other projects, and like as you can see, it's got pigment on there, but it's not coming off because I've washed it out, so it'll still stain them. So these tools you can use. I've had a lot of these tools for, you know, months, and I've used them at least for 2 or 3 projects now each. Alrighty, so I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And Della says, thank you for streaming. Looking forward to next week. Yes, colored pencils are always one of my favorites. And I just want to mention last minute here, I did start a Patreon if you guys want to support me over on Patreon. But I'm also looking at other rewards that I can add to it. So I'm thinking of doing more like real-time tutorials just to start with. So I'll probably start that maybe like at the beginning of December or something, but you know, don't feel like you have to support me or anything like that. I just really love doing like these tutorials. So if I could do more, that would be even better. So I'm thinking of doing it on Patreon, but if you guys want to have like live streams over there, or if you just want to have edited tutorials, I could do either. So, you know, if you have a preference, let me know down in the comments below. Shadow says, thank you, Naomi, and well done completing the fabulous pumpkin. Bye, and bye, everyone. Well, you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you next weekend at 11 a.m. Atlantic time for our flower picture. Bye, everyone.